So welcome to JOC Huddle number 24, Gordian Cloud tips and tricks. So here's a look at today's, first of all, I can't believe we're at JOC Huddle number 24, Cynthia. That's quite a lot of JOC Huddle.
That's so crazy.
And thank you to Gordian for making these possible. We work in collaboration with Gordian on these to really get to the campuses and because we can't get to the campuses every day. We just want to let you guys know what's going on with Gordian and what's going on the campuses and projects. So that's why we're here. That's why we've done it 24 times. And hopefully we'll do a 25th and keep going from there. So taking a look at our agenda, just did the welcome and housekeeping. I'm going to go over the JOC regional contracts. We'll talk about the recent certification program at the Chancellor's office. I'll hand it over to my co-host, Cynthia, over at Gordian to talk about tips and tricks. We'll also go over some questions and answers and then talk about upcoming training opportunities. So earlier this month, at the Office of the Chancellor, we hosted the Center of JOC Excellence 3-day training program. So it covered all these modules and we learned about best practices from industry nonprofit. So CJE is the Center of JOC Excellence. I think a lot of you guys already know about it, but it's a nonprofit organization, very similar to a CMAA, Construction Management Association. So there's no, they're not making any money. They're just there to kind of be like a round table, right? So we collaborate with colleagues from across the country to solve issues, improve procedures and processes. So we got to talk to consultants, contractors, and I was happy to have so many campuses there, which was great. So this if you went to the 3-day program, you actually got a 3-day like a completion certificate for being there for 3 days. But this is also the prerequisite to getting your CJP credential, which would give CJP after your name. So this is like one of the steps. That, or you could just get the 3-day certificate. So here's some of the modules we went over. You guys can take a look at these. But we had 43 participants from all over the country. City of Atlanta was there. Let me see. City of Seattle, Texas Parks and Wildlife, UW, University of Washington was there. University of Texas was there. And I was very happy to say that 17 participants, which a bunch of them are on the line today, were there. So let's kind of go around really quick. Carlos, what were some of your big key takeaways from the CJP 3-day training?
Well, it was an interesting program. For me, it was very interesting to see how other municipalities, other government branches use JOC much different than what we do. So I find that very interesting. Got a lot of info on practices that we can probably be implementing on our campuses and stuff. So it was very interesting, and was able to take the test right away and passed it.
Excellent, congratulations, Carlos. So we had Pomona, Northridge, San Marcos, San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco, Bakersfield, Fullerton, Fresno, and East Bay all represented in this photo right here. And thanks to all of you for joining us. I really think it was beneficial to everybody. So here's some of my key takeaways that I got and that you'll most likely see in the upcoming general conditions for 2024. I want to get an EMR safety rating, something like that in there. I'm probably going to require that CJE 3-day certificate training. So for the contractor. So either they can do it in person or online. I'm looking to make that a requirement because of the overview. And Carlos was kind of touching on this. So, and everybody who took the exam and went through the 3 days realizes that a lot of the information that you learn is the way that we do it at CSU, but some of it isn't. So it's an overview of the entire JOC program all the way across the country. But I think it would be really important to some of our contractors to learn JOC at a deeper level. So other things that I'm looking at is adding to the GCs like separate roles for the super safety representative and the quality control representative. I'm not sure I can add the guarantee amount to work orders. I'm looking into that right now. Basically, instead of it being 0 to 3 million, telling the contractors, look, you're at least going to get $1 million worth of work if you do it well. I'm not quite sure Sacramento will let me do that, but I'm looking into it right now. But one thing I'm going to do for sure, though, is I'm going to set up quarterly partnering sessions with the contractors, specifically for the contractors, to talk to them about how they like working with CSU, how they like our agreements, just kind of getting, because we do JOC huddles with you guys, but I thought it would be good to be able to really talk to the contractors and see what they're expecting from us, so we can be good partners. Here's some upcoming, here's actually last year's 2022-23 JOC regional contracts. These are still available to use. I've got mechanical, hazmat, and paving from last year that are all available for campus use. Additionally, we're adding 23-24 regional JOC contracts, put 2 up in the north for the northern campuses and 4 down south. Also just added 4 roofing JOC contractors. Those are all for your use. And just a quick poll. I promise I won't exacerbate this for too long, but I was thinking about doing a painting or flooring JOC regional contract. If you wouldn't mind just throwing in the chat which you would prefer, a painting or a flooring. We've had a lot of requests for painting. I could maybe make it a painting and flooring, but let me know what you would use best on your campuses, painting or flooring JOC. So that I'll probably procure that within the next couple of months. So let me know in the chat. Of course, you can find all of the contracts I was just talking about on our CSYOU page. That way you can find their executed agreement package, certificates, bonds, insurance, contact information, all sorts of great stuff. So I'll throw that link in the chat. And without further ado, let's take a look at our newest Gordian Cloud feature, which is the contractor evaluation. I know it's available on all the regional contracts, right, Cynthia?
Correct.
And now we're looking to set it up for the specific campus contract. So
correct.
If you run across the top of your toolbar in Gordian Cloud, it'll say procurement, construction, closeout, and then at the end, if you're using a regional contractor, it'll say contractor evaluation. It's very important to fill this out. Please, please, please fill it out, because this really gives us the temperature of these JOC contractors that are coming in and doing work. I mean, some of them are great. As you can see, this is one that I completed at the Dumpke last December. Expon did a great job. They came in hot. They did the job in like 2 or 3 days, right before all the rains came. Thankfully, it protected the Dumpke auditorium, which many of you sat in a couple of weeks ago. But be honest, they did great work, but they still only got a 77% from me. But please try to complete these so we can really get a temperature of what type of contractor we're using.
And again, if you don't have visibility to this, reach out to us so that we can get you access.
Cool. Cynthia, I'm going to hand you over the screen if you want to show us some of your tips and tricks.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. All right. So can everybody see my screen okay? I should be sharing Gordian Cloud right now. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So when you immediately log on, I'm going to show you through all of the modules. There's a couple of little things to look out for in case you don't have them set up. It's the common ones I see that are not quite set up yet. So feel free to stop me at any point if you have any other questions or any other topics that you want to discuss, though. Okay. So the first one that I always see is this blank notifications on the dashboard. Right now I'm looking at the Chancellor's Office one, so you should have this set up for both your Chancellor's Office portal and your campus portal. If you're seeing no notifications here, what I would recommend doing is setting those up, because at a quick glance, you'll be able to tell any important information that's going on your jobs. When were proposals received? When are we issuing out jobs? When was a proposal approved? The way to do that is you go up to where your initial is at on the upper right-hand corner, go to notification settings. That'll take you onto this little toggle screen over here. If you're working through the regional JOC program, always select the projects assigned to you. I would also recommend turning on in the application, with the exception of proposal submittal for via email. And then that way you'll also get an email notification of when a price proposal has come through in the system for you. You can do the same thing for report data sharing. So if you guys are sharing reports, turn those on in the application, especially on the regional JOC. Don't forget to select those that are assigned to you. Basically what that means is you're listed as the PM or somewhere on the project as a point of contact under your people. And then that way you're not going to get bombarded with everybody else's notifications on the regionals. But then that'll start giving you a full roster of what's going on your jobs. I'm not sure if everybody's aware of this projects feature, but it's one that's, I feel like, is kind of commonly overlooked. This one is these jobs that have been in here were migrated over from when we were in eGordian, but this is a really great mechanism for budgeting. So if you have a funding source, the big one that I can think of is when the HER funding source came through. If you have this budget allocation that you want to start monitoring and tracking all of your jobs that are going to be hitting that budget, you can create a project. And think of this in your head like a manila folder that you're going to be storing all of your jobs into. And then at the end, you can count up and see how many hit that funding source. So all you would have to do is add project, name it whatever the funding source is, assign it a project number, and this maybe it be a purchase order, it might be a financial identification number of some sort. I'm just going to do this for the sake of example. I'm going to note it as a draft for now. Maybe. There we go. And what you're going to do is this allows you to add in a scope for this. This is a specific funding source that we received because of COVID. This is a specific funding source that we received because of a bond measure. Then what this, the bigger thing for me with this is that this allows you to also set aside project reserves. So if you know that you're going to have specific dollars that you need to hit a certain contract and you don't want to other PMs on your team to take up those funds, you can set aside reserves so that these are just kind of designated, and then you can pull from the reserves for that specific project. And it kind of it's like a piggy bank for your contract on your campuses. Cool. Questions on budgets? Again, it's not something that's widely used, but it's a pretty cool feature that's available there to you. And then you can also then see all of the jobs that are allocated to that specific funding source. Cool. So switching gears here a little bit under your job orders now. Once you jump into job orders, I'm going to hop into any random one. The first one I see is Cal State LA. So you guys are going to be on the spot here a little bit. Don't forget to fill out your milestones. For those of you who are newer to the JOC world, all of these do generate onto reports for you. So as long as you're filling out your milestones here, your request for proposal, for example, will automatically generate when the proposal is due. And if you notate the construction start and stop date, it'll also give you a calendar of how many days you foresee this job lasting. And these are all auto onto your reports. They're auto generated onto there. As you can see at a quick glance up here, the contractor evaluation is already there for your use. Again, this is on the regionals though. So if you don't see this on your campus ones, feel free to reach out and we can help you through that. I'm going to jump into the proposal mechanism here because I feel like that's kind of like our bread and butter where we spend a lot of our time. There are two different views on the proposal. There's the classic and there's the beta. It's truly your preference, honestly, completely up to you. For me, I prefer the classic view. Some people prefer the beta view because it's a little bit cleaner. Here's the difference between the two. As you can see, it's just the layout. Here's the classic. Here's the beta. If you're in the beta and you want to go back to the classic, you just switch on up over here and it'll take you back to what you may have previously seen before. Now, when reviewing proposals, I've heard that this can be the most time-consuming portion of the project. at times, depending on the scope, right? If it's a bigger scope, it's going to take longer. So a couple of things that I've figured out through this system in navigating how to review proposals. Number one, the system is built so that you don't have to download it, print it out, highlight it, mark it up, scan it, send it back to your contractor. This is really built so that you can do all of the proposal review within the system. And because so, there's a lot of customization available to you. I want to see if there's an active proposal that maybe we can look at for this example. Anybody on the call have an active proposal through the regionals that maybe we can look at?
I do. If you want an active proposal, the IT compressor replacement under the chancellor's office. No.
IT room replace compressor.
That's it. Yep.
Perfect. Now hop into that proposal. Perfect. All right. First thing I do if I'm going to be reviewing the proposal is look at the summary. The summary is going to, at a quick glance, be able to tell you, and I'm going from left to right here. It's going to be able to, at a quick glance, tell you where all of your dollars are allocated. Biggest red flag I would see if I'm reviewing a proposal is if all of my money is allocated in the general requirements, right? Because that's where all of our labor is broken out. That's where all of our equipment charges are broken out. So if you're seeing your proposals heavily comprised of your general requirements, that's a flag. That's going to be where you spend your most time. In this particular proposal, all of it is in HVAC work. Cool. So that means I'm going to have to spend a couple extra minutes reviewing HVAC work, right? One thing I would highly recommend when you're reviewing proposals is doing a compare versions. And on this one, because it was just a one and done, let me see if I can hop into another one so I can show you. Yeah, I'll just. All right. So when you're doing a compare versions, this is the quickest way to be able to tell what's going on in the proposal that your contractor submitted back to you. So you've done an initial review of the proposal, right? Based on your summary, you sent them back over your notes, and now you want to see, did they do good by those notes? Did they actually delete the line items that I asked them to? Did they deduct the quantities that I cross-checked and noticed that they were off by a smidge? What else did they maybe add or sneak in? Because as we know, contractors do tend to sometimes get a little sneaky and add in line items. This report will be able to tell you at a quick glance what exactly transpired. And it'll tell you from version to version. So you can go from version 1.5 to 1.4. Let's say you're already at version 1.9 and you've just been going back and forth with this contractor. And you want to see, okay, how did we get here? Right? We started off with 200,000, we dropped it to 70,000, and now we're back up to 180. What's going on here? There's a lot of muck in here. You can at a quick glance be able to tell, okay, so from version 1.5 to 1.4, they've added 5 line items. They've also modified 28 items. So it looks like the difference being was their adjustment factor that was modified. So maybe this became nighttime work, right? Because we thought that we were going to be able to do it during summer break. This isn't going to happen till school's back in session. So they're going to have to work through nights. Makes sense. And then they've also removed 5 items. This may have been items that you requested from them to remove. So this is a quick way for you to be able to say, okay, all of my items were removed that I've asked, but they did also add another 5. They removed 5, they added 5, right? And this will tell you exactly where to focus your time on. To that, if you're going to be, when you first go into your proposal, it's going to take you straight into your spreadsheet review. If you're not going to run a compare versions or check out your summary first, just so you guys know, anything with the little yellow box is something that was modified. So keep an eye out for those. And then also when you're reviewing proposals, I don't know if many of you know or not, but you can also start filtering by just your pending items. So you can, let's say you did a proposal review, you've already accepted some, you sent it back over to them with some notes, and now you're going to come back into the review. You can go in and just review the pending items. You don't have to scroll through all of the stuff that you've already approved. Also, did you guys know that you can rearrange the column sequencing? So let's say you have a smaller screen and you have to scroll all the way over to the right in order to hit accept, reject, or request clarification. You can readjust your columns, and this is unique to you as a user. So when you're in there, you can actually say, okay, I want to see my comments all the way at the very front. And you can save it as a preference, or you can just say, this is just for this proposal review because there's a lot of comments to it. So now it'll be toggled all the way over here to the leftmost side, and you can rearrange them in any direction that you want. There is also a couple of other additional columns that you can take a look at. So if you do want to see what the labor cost breakout is, what the material cost breakout, what the equipment cost breakout is for every line item, you can do that as an added column. And again, you can rearrange any of these in any order that you want. Cool. Also, let's say you go out on vacation. You took a 2-week trip to Hawaii. You had someone else review your proposals while you were gone. Now you've come back. The proposal is still not approved, right? Because it's a hefty proposal. And but you need to know where that PM, what that PM actually reviewed versus what's left to review and what happened in the journey. So you can actually run a history where it'll tell you exactly what transpired from iteration to iteration, down to the point where it'll tell you what version of the proposal it happened at. So you can see that. So this one was a migration one, but the owner, whoever it was that logged in and reviewed the proposal, in this case, migration, they modified this proposal in version 1.2, and they also added a note here. And it'll tell you all the way down for every single, you can export this to Excel, so you can run a cross comparison as you're reviewing your spreadsheet, as you're doing your spreadsheet review, and say, okay, this one still needs to be modified, but I saw that they had already rejected this, and now the contractors come back and they're trying to get it back into they're trying to sneak it back into the proposal, right? This is a really great way to attack team proposal reviews if you're working collaboratively with someone else. Any questions on proposal review? Thoughts? Comments? Okay. Those are the highlights for me on this one. You do also have a bunch of really great management tools available to you, just so you guys know. If you go over to this little bar graph that says reports, under management, you do have a lot of really great tracking reports on a contract level. You can track things like DVBE, SBE. You can track things like where are your jobs at by contract? Where are your jobs at by contractor? Where are your jobs at by project manager? All of these things are available to you via the management tool. Cool. And that's it for tips and tricks for this week.
Thank you so much. That's really great information. It's going from eGordian to Gordian Cloud was all the campuses were kind of nervous about it. And I know that there was a lot of questions, but and there still be maybe more questions about how Gordian Cloud works, but don't hesitate to ask me or your Gordian rep. Put it in writing. Makes it easier just in case it's a technical issue, right, Cynthia? So we can get it to your, what do you call it?
Our support team.
Yeah. So just make sure you get it in writing. If something's not making sense or you're clicking through and something just isn't adding up, please put it in writing and send it to Cynthia, myself, Lou, and Zeb. But do we have any questions from the material I talked to you about, or anything that Cynthia may have said? I will take that as a no. So upcoming trainings for us, JOC Huddle number 25 coming up in August, how to handle hazmat projects. If I raise a hand, how many people have hazmat at their campus? I don't have it in mind, but nobody wants to admit to it. So please keep an eye out for that invitation. Campus staff using JOC are highly recommended to attend Gordian University online. You can get that information from your account rep. Super easy. How long does that take, Cynthia, to go through the Gordian University It's like a
It
couple hours.
depends, but it's a quick one. It's a very quick one. It's interactive, so it's really great as a refresher that you could use for any new team members or like a mid-year check-in.
Perfect. And all previous JOC huddles, almost all of them are posted on CSU Learn and SumTotal. If you do them on SumTotal, our CSU Learn SumTotal, you get credit for it. And we're looking to work on a certificate. If you've watched so many of our huddles, you'll get a little certificate. So, but with that, I will leave it there. And everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for attending today.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Have a great day.
Cecilia.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.